All right, it's 2026. Happy New Year. God bless you. Trusting you are doing well. I'm doing well by the grace of God. Thanks for asking. And sorry I haven't made many new audio or videos or posts. Just been busy, but good busy. And I don't really want to make any this year. I just want to focus more on my local life, the church, my family, my job, my individual life, even some gardening and so forth around the house. And I feel like I've put enough content already out there to kind of publicly into the world to kind of try and influence message culture in a certain positive, progressive direction. And I feel like it's made a difference, even though it's a small difference. I continue to get, the occasional email or text, or somebody buys the free ebook, or somebody, orders the paperback book. Even recently, I was in Europe at a youth conference in Belgium. There was 270 young people from all over Europe, and a few from North America, and a few from, even further away. And a couple of them came up to me and said hello, introduced themselves, and then they said, I read your book. And one of the first questions I asked is, was it helpful? And they said, yes, it was helpful. So that made me happy. I don't want to confuse people or cause people to move in a downward negative trajectory in their life. I just want to be helpful. And I also made a few other audios that are on Gumroad, but I know that some people find Gumroad hard to use, so I might put them on YouTube. So if you see a few newer audios on YouTube, they're actually older. I'll put the recorded date in the description. And I started having other ideas for episodes, and then I tried to combine them into one, and I called it the Backlog 2025, and I started recording it, and I was like, I just don't have time or energy for this right now. I wanted to do one on the status quo. I wanted to do one on culture. I'll take pictures of these and put them in the description. I wanted to do one on overcoming hypnotism. I wanted to do one on the need for resolutions. Now, if you listen to God of this Evil Age, Brother Branham and the church, they announced some resolutions at the beginning of the service, and I believe he has Brother Neville read it. So it's not on all audio versions, but it's on some, and I find that very, very fascinating. When there's issues taking place, they made official resolutions. And that could be a whole subject. And again, not that I understand these subjects completely, but sometimes I think it's good just to introduce them in our culture for us to be able to debate and discuss publicly and privately. And hopefully we can develop in those thoughts and move in a positive direction. Sometimes thoughts are introduced into the public square and they scare us or they're shocking. But by the Bible, by the message, how do we interpret them? How do we filter them? How can they help us, and how were they not helpful at all? I wanted to do one on the demonization of thinking. I covered that a little bit actually in Belgium when I was there. I wanted to break down and differentiate and the nuances of what we mean when we say Brother Branham said. So to me, I just have it here. When we say Brother Branham said, there's different categories. There's thus saith the Lord, there's him praying, there's him teaching, there's him doing questions and answers, there's him telling stories, there's him giving his opinion, there's him giving testimony. But these are all under the umbrella of Brother Branham said. I mean, these are good topics, I believe, but I don't have the time or energy to put them in video or audio and then to receive either criticism or good feedback. Now, mostly what I get is good feedback. Even the thumbs up rating on YouTube, it's like over 97% positive. But even if there's just a few people who don't like it, sometimes they won't come and talk to me directly, which is fine, I get. But, I don't enjoy just the whispers or whatever. You know what I mean? We're human. It's fine. That's just my dog. There's an alarm going off in the background. And then I wanted to do one on supplementation. When Brother Branham uses the phrase historians or commentaries or encyclopedias, obviously he is supplementing. Sorry about that. There was an ambulance that went by and my dog was overreacting. But what else do I want to say here? Oh, I also wrote an essay called Close Study. It's about interpretation. You can read that or you can listen to it on YouTube. And I'll keep the content up on Gumroad as well. I just know for some it's tricky to navigate and use. And as far as going forward into 2026, I just want to mention a sermon I preached last weekend in Victoria called How Did We Get Here? And I used the example of Jonah ending up in the belly of the whale, and the example of the maniac of Gadara, how he was a normal citizen, and then he began to get around the wrong crowd. Then he began to drink, and he began to lie, and eventually he ended up in the tombs. And I was speaking about how there's things that we know are right and things that we know that are wrong. And if we do those things that are right, they compound and they have a positive effect on our lives long term. Same with vice versa on the negative. And so it's important for us to say, Lord, help me do those things that are right. If you do push-ups every day, it's going to have a benefit on your strength. Just doing them once, one day, won't do that much, but it's over the long term where the difference really shows. And then if you listen to man running from the presence of the Lord, Brother Bram talks about shirking, how we don't want to shirk. When God deals with us, we don't want to try and dodge it. We don't want to try and avoid it. So there are those things we know to do which are right, just day to day. And then there are times when God deals with us. And when God deals with us, we don't want to run from the presence of the Lord. We want to run into the presence of the Lord. Because then it has a positive impact upon our lives and the lives of those around us. We are not an island unto ourselves. Doing that which is right and responding when God deals with us is beneficial for us, but also for those around us. So that's my update 2026, and trusting you're doing well. Feel free to email me and I'll try and respond in a goodly time. And besides that, maybe it's time to go outside and go for a walk.